If you would reverse the season of any racing series in the world, you would end up having a different perspective on the championship fight, but in the end, the championship results would remain the same. However, there is an exception, where thanks to its unique championship format called the playoffs, not only the look would change, but so would the results. This is NASCAR. William Byron would start off with a pole position and stage 1 win, but Ross Chastain took the race victory at Phoenix, holding off Ryan Blaney. Chastain was the only championship 4 driver from the previous season to do well in that race, as Elliott finished 16th, Logano 18th, and Bell crashed out. After that race, Chastain, Byron, Buescher, Harvick, Larson, Truex Jr., Blaney, Wallace, Hamlin, McDowell, Suarez, Austin Dillon, Keselowski, Almirola, Preece, and Elliott were in the playoff spots. Ryan Blaney's successful run would continue in Martinsville, winning stage 2 and making it to the victory lane this time, taking over the championship lead. Daniel Suarez, Austin Dillon, and Brad Keselowski fell out of the playoff spots as they were involved in wrecks, while top 5 finishers Chase Briscoe and Joey Logano alongside Ty Gibbs broke in. All Stewart Haas racing cars were in the playoff spots. I sure hope they won't choke. Kyle Larson scored big stage points, but his day came to an end when he drove into the sand barriers on the pit entry. He wasn't the only big name to be in chaos that day, as Ross Chastain was involved in a wreck, Denny Hamlin suffered a steering failure and crashed, and both the Martin Truex Jr. blew up his engine. Christopher Bell charged the victory in Homestead, beating Blaney and punching his ticket into the playoffs. Blaney's third top 2 finish in a row this season extended his championship lead to 30 points. Chase Elliott and Michael McDowell fell out of the playoff spots as Christopher Bell won his way in and Austin Dillon re-entered the spots. Kyle Larson beat Christopher Bell on the drag race to the line to score all he could at Las Vegas, winning both stages and the race. Ryan Blaney originally finished 6th, but then he got disqualified, and then he got the disqualification lifted. He ended up increasing his championship lead over William Byron. Terrible races for Ty Gibbs and Ryan Preece put them in the elimination zone, as Brad Keselowski and Tyler Reddick with strong finishes would take their spots. Surprisingly, Alex Bowman in the 48 Hendrick entry was second to last in the driver standings, only being ahead of Justin Haley by a single point. AJ Allmendinger's first road course race on his return to full-time racing in the series went well. He took the checkered flag on the oval, becoming the first underdog to clinch a spot in the playoffs. Blaney's lead would shrink to 23 points. Denny Hamlin had a race to forget, spinning multiple times and retiring from the race altogether. The race winner and Kyle Busch, who got his second third place finish in a row, got in the playoffs, taking over the spots of Austin Dillon and Chase Briscoe. Ryan Blaney returned to his early season form by winning at Talladega, becoming the first multi-time race winner of 2023, but Byron's stage points helped to shrink the championship lead. Brad Keselowski won stage 2 but was involved in a wreck, taking him out of the contention. Kevin Harvick originally finished second but got disqualified. This dropped him to the final advancement spot, being equal on points with teammate Ryan Preece. Chase Elliott, with his first top 10 finish of the season, got back in the playoffs, while Kyle Busch, who had a crash with Justin at the end of stage 1, fell outside the bubble. Late in the race, Kyle Larson, the stage 2 winner, decided to go checkers or wreckers. It ended up being wreckers. Same happened to Ryan Blaney. Despite the spin early in the race, William Byron found his way to the victory lane in a chaotic race at Texas and got a championship lead. No driver entered nor gave up their playoff spot. In the first night race of the season, hosted at Bristol, Christopher Bell took the pole, won stage 1, won stage 2, but Denny Hamlin beat your favorite driver, all of them. Ryan Blaney had a bad night, finishing 22nd under the lights, allowing Byron to extend his championship lead. Kevin Harvick had an even worse race, 29th place, 5 laps down, putting him outside the playoff bubble and allowing his teammate Preece get in. It would finally be Tyler Reddick's day, as he would take the lead on the overtime and hold on to the win, making it 3 in a row at Kansas for 22-11 Racing. Denny Hamlin continued his great momentum to be runner-up that race. It was a disastrous day for Martin Truex Jr. though, as he would be a victim of a tire failure just after 3 laps, dropping him to 13th in the standings. Once again, no driver would give or take a playoff spot. The first dual race of the season, Southern 500, saw Denny Hamlin sweep the stages, but a loose wheel dropped him back and made him finish 25th. He wasn't the only one with a bad night at Joe Gibbs Racing, as Martin Truex Jr. scored an 18th place finish, rookie Ty Gibbs 21st, and posted a Christopher Bell 23rd. Kyle Larson found success instead, as he would end up victorious and took 2nd place in the standings. Tyler Reddick came home 2nd. Drivers in the playoff spots remained the same again. First Daytona race of the season was here. RFK Racing would get its first win under the part ownership of Brad Keselowski in a dominant fashion. Chris Buescher first, Brad Keselowski second. Many 2023 race winners struggled here, as Bell finished 16th ahead of Justin, then Reddick 25th, followed by Hamlin and Larson. Blaney was involved in the big one at the end of stage 2. Michael McDowell was initially fast, winning stage 1, but electrical issues took him out of the contention. William Byron would score his career first road course victory and extended his championship lead to 70 points. Pole sitter Denny Hamlin finished runner-up and went 2nd in the standings. His teammate Bell followed right behind him in both the race and the standings. The previous year's winner Kyle Larson finished only 26th. His teammates Elliott ran out of fuel and Bowman finished outside the top 20. Finally, some change would happen in the playoff spots, as Eric Almirola fell out, Kyle Busch came in. The next race would also be on a road course, Indianapolis this time. Once again, Michael McDowell did well, And he did win this time, becoming the second underdog to clinch a spot in the playoffs. Chase Elliott got close but couldn't do the winning move in time. McDowell clinching his spot in the playoffs meant Kyle Busch was placed out of the bubble. Michigan would see Martin Truex Jr. sweep both stages, score his first top 5 finish of the season, but Chris Buescher would return to the victory lane just without beating Truex. William Byron didn't finish the race as he got damaged from hitting a wall, neither did Chase Elliott nor Kyle Busch. Byron's championship lead would shrink to 19 points. No changes in the playoff spots. It was 2 in a row for Buescher. He won at Richmond, becoming the first driver to win 2 consecutive races that year. A second consecutive classification outside the top 20 for Byron and the runner-up for Hamlin meant Byron's championship lead was only 1 point. No changes happened in the playoff spots. Joey Logano crossed the stage 1 line first but was taken out in a wreck during stage 2, followed by the famous meltdown on the radium. Denny Hamlin pushed Kyle Larson into the wall late in the race to take a controversial 7 Pocono victory. With that, Hamlin also took over the championship lead from William Byron, the race's pole sitter who ended up finishing 14th. No changes in moves in the playoffs once again. It was finally Martin Truex Jr.'s day. He dominated the rain-delayed race at New Hampshire, winning both stages and the race. William Byron had a bad run, scoring only 24th place for the number 24 car, allowing Hamlin to extend his championship lead to 41 points. Going back to the south, Kyle Larson blew a tire early in the race and he died because of that. Brad Keselowski took his 5th stage 2 win of the year, and for the 5th time that year, he didn't convert it to a win. It was William Byron doing a spin to win again in the rain-shortened race at Atlanta, starting to recover from the last few bad races. Christopher Bell would win both stages, but the day would fall apart and he slid into the wall. It was Shane Van Gisbergen in Trackhouse's Project 91 car who shocked the racing world in the first ever street course race in NASCAR history, winning his 2nd start in the series. However, since he wasn't a full-time driver, he wouldn't secure a spot in the playoffs. Justin Haley came home 2nd, first among the full-time drivers, but to get a spot, you gotta beat them all. Tyler Reddick won stage 1, but a pit stop blunder resulted him in losing a wheel and finishing 13th. Ross Chastain would return to the victory lane for the first time since Phoenix, ending his bad run lately and beating Truex Jr. Denny Hamlin would extend his lead over Byron. Ryan Blaney fell to 10th in the regular season standings after an accident. Denny Hamlin converted the pole position to stage 1 win, and a crash blowing the regular season championship wide open. Kyle Busch then took the stage 2, but ultimately lost to Martin Truex Jr. William Byron was now 4 points behind the championship lead, and Kyle Busch was 4 points behind the playoff spots. The weekend would begin with breaking news. Chase Elliott had been suspended for this round for a crash in the future. Don't ask me how that is supposed to make any sense. His car was taken over by Gorilla Joy for that week. Anyway, realizing he didn't have much time left, Kyle Busch did what he had to. He won at Gateway, winning his way into the playoffs. As Busch won, Kevin Harvick suddenly found himself outside the playoff bubble by quite a margin behind Bubba Wallace to make up with 4 races to go, 43 points. Hamlin with a top 5 from that race would run away from Byron on a little. Bottom 3 in the standings now were mathematically in a must-win scenario. The second Jewel race of the season, the longest one of the year, Coke 600 was here. Ryan Blaney ended up winning for the first time since Talladega, beating Byron. The regular season championship saw a controversial turnaround, as Chase Elliott did what he served a race suspension for, taking out Denny Hamlin on purpose. What happened because of that? Elliott's teammate William Byron returned to the championship lead with 3 regular season races to go. Coincidence? I don't think so. Everyone outside the top 20 in the standings now could make it into the playoffs only by winning one of the next 3 races. Coming into this race, Hendrick Motorsports was back on the headlines. One of the drivers, Alex Bowman, had suffered a back injury in a sprint car accident. He would miss the final 3 regular season races of the season, sitting 22nd in the standings. Alex Bowman had missed the playoffs. He would be replaced by Josh Berry during his recovery. Pole sitter Martin Truex Jr. won stage 1, but his already slim regular season title chances came down crashing in a wreck, no pun intended. Ross Chastain, the stage 2 winner, also wrecked out late. William Byron continued his runaway by winning the second Darlington race. Kevin Harvick, the runner-up, closed up on advancing to 31 points. Daniel Suarez and Eric Almirola fell into the must-win zone. Denny Hamlin would celebrate his 3rd victory of the season at Kansas, continuing Toyota domination on the track, but once again, it wouldn't be without controversy. He was involved in a collision with Kyle Larson on the last lap of the race. The gap, however, was 47 points between the championship leaders going into Dover. Brad Keselowski advanced into the playoffs on points. Ty Gibbs' only shot of making it into the playoffs now was winning the next race. Martin Truex Jr. finished the regular season with his 3rd win of the year, snatching the 3rd place in the standings from Kyle Larson, who crashed out in a wreck started by Ross Chastain. William Byron was crowned the regular season champ. Bubba Wallace, Chase Elliott and Joey Logano claimed their remaining playoff spots, while Kevin Harvick would spend the rest of his great career outside the playoffs. First of all, let's take a look at the standings after the playoff bonus points are applied. William Byron is at the top with 39 points, followed by Larson 6 points behind. Michael McDowell surprisingly is inside the top 12 in bonus points. As it would stand, AJ Allmendinger, Joey Logano, Chase Elliott and Bubba Wallace will be eliminated in round of 16. Now to the race. Denny Hamlin would take the pole in the playoff opener at Talladega. Michael McDowell suffered a spin on lap 2, needed repairs and finished 35th. Chase Elliott took the stage 1 win. Joey Logano was involved in a late wreck, causing an overtime. The first overtime was chaotic. Ross Chastain was among the wreck causers, but got through with no major damage. It didn't go that well for Kyle Larson though. He spun around and got T-boned by Ryan Preece, ending both stays. On the last lap of the second overtime, caution would come out for a wreck up front. Ryan Blaney spun out the leader Bubba Wallace. Kyle Busch capitalized on it fast enough and won the race. Bubba and AJ Allmendinger wouldn't make it over the finish line, and Truex finished 27th because of the wreck. Wallace, Allmendinger, Nogano and McDowell would be in the elimination zone after that race. Stewart Haas Racing would dominate early. Ryan Preece took pole in stage 1, Kevin Harvick took stage 2. Despite the team's domination, it was Kyle Larson who took the checkered flag at Martinsville, beating Joey Logano, who started from the rear in that race. Despite that, no changes would happen in who would get eliminated as it stood. The week would start off with leg-breaking news. Chase Elliott had to miss this race because of a broken leg after a snowboarding accident. He would be replaced by Josh Berry for the majority of his recovery. His teammate Kyle Larson took the pole, dominated stage 1 and crashed with Preece late in the race. It was a night of regret for Joey Logano as he spun in stage 1 and got race-ending damage in stage 2, ending his title defense run. Christopher Bell won the round of 16 closer, beating Reddick. Despite spinning in stage 1, Bubba Wallace broke in and advanced to the round of 12. Ross Chastain had an even worse night, finishing only 28, but it was enough. He advanced, knocking out Chase Elliott by 1 point. Chase Elliott, Mike McDowell, Joey Logano and AJ Allmendinger were eliminated in the round of 16. Elliott's number 9 car would advance to the next round in the Owners' Championship though. Wallace's 23 would beat Chastain's 1 on the tiebreaker for the final spot in the Owners' Championship round of 12. Starting the round of 12, Kyle Larson and William Byron were on the top, tied in the seed points. Tyler Reddick, Ross Chastain and Kyle Busch were tied for the final advancement spot. The round of 12 would begin with a bombshell. William Byron, the regular season champ, was given a 60-point penalty for an illegal modification found on his car. This stopped him 33 points outside the playoff bubble. Despite that, he went on to win stage 1. However, salt would get added to his wound with 20 laps to go as Christopher Bell spun him out and he finished 24th. Kyle Larson went on to win the race, beating his substitute teammate Josh Berry, who came home in second and placed the 9 car inside the safe zone of Homer's playoffs, topping Kyle Busch's number 8 car out. Ross Chastain had a great day as he took 3rd place from Richmond. A terrible race for Chris Buescher, however, dropped him into the elimination zone, while his teammate Brad Keselowski broke inside the safe zone with a top 10 finish. William Byron would end the weekend with 27 points inside the danger zone. William Byron's attempt to recover from the penalty went as well as it could in qualifying. He took the pole at the Lone Star State's road course. Brad Keselowski spun on lap 1 but kept going. His day would still end before the checkered flag though, as his drive shaft didn't survive the race distance. Bubba Wallace slammed hard into Kyle Larson on lap 11. The damage would be too much for Wallace. It was day over for him too. On the first overtime, Ryan Blaney would pick up a puncture after spinning in turn 1, dropping him outside the top 20. There would be 2 more overtimes, with Bell getting race-ending damage in the last one, but Tyler Reddick held on to the first place on the late restarts and won. Late spinner Blaney and the early wrecker Keselowski would get dropped outside their advancement spots, while Busch, the runner-up, and Buescher would take their spots. William Byron's stage win and top 5 finish gave him only 10 points to catch up in Atlanta, and only 1 in Owners' Championship. Bubba Wallace's already bad round of 12 run went even worse with an early spin on his own. He went on to finish 5 laps down out of the playoffs. Lap 190 would see a big change in the playoffs. Ross Chastain spun out the race leader Kevin Harvick. The wreck would have playoff names involved: Case Buescher, Josh Berry to the owners' playoffs, Kyle Busch and Bubba Wallace in the distance, and most notably William Byron. Byron suffered race-ending damage. It was the end of the road. The regular season champ was eliminated in the round of 12. Things would go worse for Hendrick Motorsports. The race leader Eric Camiola blew a tire and ended up taking out one of the drivers, Kyle Larson. Joey Logano and Brad Keselowski dueled for the victory on the closing laps. Joey Logano's last lap pass would get him his first win of the year. Brad Keselowski finished second. To advance into the round of 8, he needed Blaney to finish 8th or lower. Blaney was in a 3-wide pole to finish for 7th place. Where did Blaney finish? 7th. Brad Keselowski was eliminated by a single point, alongside his teammate Chris Buescher, the regular season champ William Byron and Bubba Wallace. However, Brad's car would still advance in the Owners' Championship, as the 9 Hendrick was eliminated instead. On the start of round of 8, the remaining drivers didn't change their seats positions. Bell, Reddick, Chastain and Busch were in the elimination zone as it stood. As Chastain's entry was already out of their owners' playoffs, it was Keselowski's number 6 entry in the elimination zone instead. It happened again. Hendrick Motorsports was on the headlines for even bigger controversy this time. The team's all 4 drivers and cars were handed 100-point penalties for illegal modifications before practice. Luckily for them though, the penalties would be overturned later. The race would go to overtime with late cautions, ultimately costing Kevin Harvick the victory on his final trip to his most successful track. During the final laps, Denny Hamlin intentionally wrecked Ross Chastain, dropping both down the order. Hamlin was later given a 25-point penalty for the action. William Byron ended up winning and scored the team its 300th win. The unfortunate thing though was he was eliminated from the playoffs in the previous race. Tyler Reddick came home third and broke into the crucial top 4 spots. Christopher Bell missed out on the top 5 but still got inside the Big 4. A day to forget for Martin Truex Jr. dropped him outside the championship 4 bubble. Denny Hamlin's punishment would drop him down to 7th in the standings, only ahead of the driver he wrecked. It was William Byron domination. One stage 1, one stage 2, won the race, once again on the overtime, taking the win from Kyle Larson this time. In this unchaotic Las Vegas race, Kyle Larson's second place secured him a spot in the championship war thanks to the big points advantage over the cutoff line. Martin Truex Jr. got back in the advancement zone with Tyler Reddick falling out of it. It was rather close. Kyle Busch in 8th was only 24 points behind the advancement line. The qualifying was cancelled, awarding the pole to Christopher Bell. Kyle Larson would hit trouble early, getting electrical issues, but he came back on track later and ended up finishing 29th. Ross Chastain did all he could in the stages, winning both of them. Stage 2 saw the playoffs have a big plot twist. On a restart, a big stack-up occurred. Not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 playoff drivers were involved. Brad Keselowski and Ryan Blaney escaped without major damage, but it was game over for Christopher Bell and Tyler Reddick. Despite a speeding penalty early in the race, Kyle Busch charged to the front and won the race, punching his ticket into the championship war. Not a bad way to start a tenure in a new team. Kyle Larson had advanced on points before the race, but who were the other two to advance? First one of them advanced by 9 points, It was Ross Chastain, the stage sweeper and third place finisher. The other driver got through by 6 points, finishing the race 7th, Martin Truex Jr. After a season of struggles in 2022, he made it to the Big Four this season. Ryan Blaney, finishing 26th, was eliminated by 6 points. Christopher Bell would have a heartbreak at California, being eliminated by 7 points after a wreck. And that's not the only heartbreaking thing. Since Justin's number 1 car was eliminated earlier in the owners' playoffs, there was a vacant spot in the championship 4. That spot would go to Ryan Blaney's number 12 Penske entry by 1 point. Tied on points with Bell was Denny Hamlin. Had he not intentionally wrecked Justin in Phoenix, he would have made it to the 4. Despite the top 10, Brad Keselowski's 6 car was out by 22 points. Tyler Reddick was further behind the rest, eliminated by 30 points. The most prestigious race of the year was here, the Great American Race, the title decider, the Daytona 500. It would see Kyle Busch, Kyle Larson and Martin Truex Jr. fight for both titles, but also Ross Chastain fighting for the driver's title and Ryan Blaney in the number 12 Penske fighting for the owner's title. Since it's a winner-takes-all race, I didn't include the Speed Weeks points here. Anyway, to the race. Kyle Larson qualified 2nd, joining teammate Alex Bowman on the front row. The other Kyle, Busch, had a bad start to the championship week as he started 36th after going into a backup car following a wreck in the duel. At the end of stage 1, Truex Jr. was 9th, leading the championship 4 drivers and cars. Busch 15th, Blaney 20th, Larson 23rd and Chastain 28th. On lap 118, the first major crash of the day would occur. Kevin Harvick spun Tyler Reddick, triggering a wreck. Blaney went into the wall overcorrecting, got pretty big damage on the front, but somehow got it repaired and back into the race. Truex Jr. was tapped by Reddick lightly, but got no damage. Larson had a slide into the grass, but no major damage either. Chastain ended up winning the stage 2 after not pitting during the yellow. Truex Jr. finished 6th, Larson 12th, Busch 13th and Blaney 33rd. Chastain would speed in the pits during the yellow flag stops, dropping him to the rear for the start of the final dash of the year. Lap 182, Michael McDowell caused a wreck. He spun Brice and then got spun by Briscoe. Martin Truex Jr. was involved, bigger consequences this time as he got damaged, but kept going. With 4 laps to go, Kyle Busch took the lead, but a caution would come out on the next lap for Daniel Suarez spinning, sending the race to an overtime. Kyle Busch lost a few positions, including to Larson. White flag wouldn't be seen yet though, as the big one happened. Ross Chastain was the only championship 4 driver involved in that, but didn't have night-ending damage. Overtime number 2. Larson restarted 2nd, Busch 5th, Truex 12th, Blaney 13th and Chastain 20th. This time they made it to the white flag. It would go down the wire. Larson was 3rd, Busch 4th. Kyle Larson went to the middle but had the plug pulled. He had no dad, nobody bumping him. He fell behind, but then something shocking happened. In turn 1, Eric Almirola bumped one of driver Travis Pastrana, who spun. Pastrana spun into Kyle Larson, wrecking him. While going into the wall, Larson managed to slightly tap Bubba Wallace's rear. Wallace then spun down into AJ Allmendinger. Allmendinger went up into Kyle Busch, wrecking him. Kyle Larson and Kyle Busch, the leading championship 4 drivers, were taken out on the last lap of the Great American Race, the last lap of the season. The caution came out. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. survived the chaos to win the most famous race of the year. Ryan Blaney would have a head-on collision with Larson during the last lap's big one, but despite a car with such damage as you can see on that picture, he could see the checker flag 8, 21st among the championship drivers. Ryan Blaney's number 12 Team Penske was the 2023 NASCAR Cup Series Owners Champion. However, since he didn't make it into the Drivers' Championship War, he wasn't the Drivers' Champion. It instead was the driver right behind him, Ross Chastain. Despite all the chaos he was in that day, he became the number 1, driving the number 1. Ross Chastain was the 2023 NASCAR Cup Series Drivers' Champion. The next championship 4 driver was Martin Truex Jr. in 15th, coming across the line to claim runner-up in both championships. Larson took 3rd, Busch 4th in their championships, both not seeing the finish line and title in their hands. The NASCAR Truck Series season finale this year was something, but this is just something else. So, this is what would have happened if the 2023 NASCAR Cup Series season had been reversed, going from Phoenix to Daytona 500. If you have made this far, thank you very much for watching, especially if you watched the entire thing. In case you enjoyed this video, I would really appreciate you leaving a like, perhaps even subscribing to this channel. See you in the next video, for what I will try to improve my voiceover. But for now, bye bye.